Hey 88ers, welcome back. Thanks for joining me and James today. We're coming at you with a back workout that's been adapted from some of our favorite commercial machines for training back, but can be done in the comfort of your home. So stay tuned, check it out. When it comes to training back, there are some incredible pieces of equipment at the commercial gym, from, pull downs to rowing machines to lat pullover machines. They are really great at isolating the back. The problem is when you work out from your home gym, you obviously don't have access to those pieces of equipment. So what me and James have done today is we've picked out some of our favorite back machines, and we're going to show you the at-home version. So let's jump right in. So I don't think there's a debate on this one. The number one best back machine at the commercial gym is gonna be the lat pull down machine. You think anyone's gonna argue that?
There's some good back machines out there. I'm not sure about that one. But the lat pull down machine is definitely one of the best.
Yeah, it's definitely a staple on your back day because it can target so much of your back. Like from your lats to your rhomboids to your traps, even your rear delts, it can hit the entire thing. And by changing out different attachments or using different grips, you can change the emphasis to different portions of your back, which makes it really good at isolating the back specifically.
Very versatile.
Yeah, very versatile piece of equipment. The problem is once you move to your home gym space or you're working out at a hotel, you don't always have that lat pull down tower machine where you can effectively get that exercise in. So what do you do? So we're gonna show you or talk about our favorite, most effective exercises for alternatives. James, what's your number one pick?
Gotta be pull-ups. It mimics the movement of a lat pull down. It's just body weight. You're pulling up as opposed to a bar.
All right.
You're pulling down.
So it's like an inverted lat pull down. All right, well, let's go ahead and show them a couple of those.
All right.
All right, so hopefully you have at home a pull down or pull up bar, just like that. And so you can see James has an overhand grip there, which is really great at targeting those upper back muscles, just the same way a lat pull down would be on the straight bar like we showed you. What do you think, James?
Oh, absolutely. Just make sure you engage your lats. You're gonna get a lot of bicep in this. Focus your lats, pull with your lats. I'm gonna jump up there again. You're gonna see I engage my lats before I pull up. Camille did a whole video about that. Maybe we can throw the card up there.
Yeah, go ahead and show them.
But from a dead hang, the first thing you do is engage the lat. Now you pull up using the lat.
Right.
And then back down.
Do it one more time.
From dead hang, engage
up.
the lat, and then pull with the lat.
There you go.
Just like so.
So the only thing I see with this one is over time, depending on how effective you are at doing pull-ups, this may become too easy. So what tips do you have for the at-home gym goers when that becomes too easy?
First of all, you're a beast if that's too easy, because those aren't easy. You can superset it with some other pull down or row, or you can add weight to yourself.
Right.
Those are the two ways to make pull-ups harder.
Absolutely. All right, so there you have it. That's variation number one that you can try at home, just your body weight pull-ups. Really great at simulating the lat pull down. All right, so let's say you don't have a pull-up bar. Maybe you're not quite at the point where you can do pull-ups. The next best thing that I would recommend is grabbing a resistance band. Have one right here. It's one with handles, and just doing a seated lat pull down. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this up for you. Actually, James is taller. Can you loop that up there for me? There we go. All right, so you can just take this, make sure it's even, and then you can do it kneeling, seated, however you have enough stretch. All right, so I'm gonna show you seated, and then same thing. Engage the lats, pull down. Engage the lats, pull down.
Do it one time without engaging the lat. See that? You saw all this, stay elevated. She didn't bring it down first. Go ahead and do it. Bring it down, engage the lats, and then pull down,
Squeeze.
just like that. And seated or kneeling gives you a solid base. As long as you're not pulling yourself up with the band, you got a solid base there, it should work.
Yeah, and what I really like about using the resistance band, it has variable tension. So the further out I stretch this band, the harder it becomes. So when I'm finally in that bottom contracted point on the lats, it is really tense there. Like you can feel all of that load going into your lats, especially if you're engaging them the entire time.
Yeah, it's max resistance and max contraction at the same time.
One of James's favorite machines at the gym is the Hammer Strength Iso Lateral Row machine. Yes. So it's that seated machine that you see, the chest is supported, you can move the hands unilaterally and then row.
It is a fantastic machine, and like she said, it is absolutely one of my favorites, if not my favorite. I like the chest supported. It takes the weight off your lower back. A lot of times I'm sore or my lower back's tweaked from deadlifts, so I don't want to do a bent over row and put the load on my back. So the ISO row with the chest support, one of my absolute favorites. So how do we do it at the home gym?
All right, so there's a couple different ways you can do it at the home gym. Probably my number one pick is going to be doing a chest supported row on a bench. So hopefully you have an incline bench, and then you can just lay flat on that bench with some dumbbells and row. All right, so let's go ahead and show you what that looks like. We have the incline bench here. So you want to stay pretty much on your feet and lay flat so the chest is good and supported. Let the arms just hang naturally and stretch. And then you can go ahead and pull your elbows back, up and back, squeezing the entire back here. So the good thing about this is you can get a good amount of stretch at the bottom. So you can see how James almost wraps his chest around the pad of the bench to get a deeper stretch on these back muscles in his lats.
That's a great tip. And even if you're using the isolateral machine, wrap your shoulders around to get the stretch on the lats and then pull it back and squeeze.
Yeah, and just like the isolateral row, you can do the exercises unilaterally. The arms on that machine move independently, so you can mimic that here too. And again, the reason we're picking a chest supported is because that machine is chest supported. So just doing bent over dumbbell rows is not going to elicit the same effect as it would if your chest was supported. In fact, you probably can't row as heavy without having that chest supported.
100%. If you are, you're cheating. You're using momentum and pulling it up.
All right, so if you don't have a Hammer Strength isolateral row at your home gym, go ahead and grab that incline bench. You can get a very similar pattern of motion and movement. Yeah, and feel those muscles.
It's a great exercise. I would highly recommend it. You know, even if you have the machine, I would still recommend this exercise every once in a while because that's how good it is.
Absolutely. All right, so that's probably the most effective at-home alternative to the isolateral row, but I will show you one more. Another alternative that you can do for the isolateral row machine is going to be a chest-supported resistance band row. So go ahead and anchor your band somewhere so it's kind of horizontal from you. And then you can set up a bench, a chair, whatever you have, but you want something to lean your chest on. And then we're going to go ahead, face our band, rest the chest up against the pad. And same thing, we're going to allow our chest to stretch around this pad. And then we can row the elbows back, squeezing the back, just like this. And you can do different grips with the resistance band, just the same way the isolateral row machine would have different grips. So if we want to focus more on that upper back, we can go ahead and hit this overhand grip. If we want more lat, we can definitely do the neutral grip or even the supinated grip here, just like this. But really great exercise. In fact, the cable version, James first saw, I think Wesley Vissers do that. It's a really great exercise. We've been working that into our regimen ever since. But this resistance band one's a very similar effect. And same thing as the other exercise with the variable tension. The more you stretch this band back, the more challenging it becomes, really applying that stress to the muscle fibers. So you get a good stretch, good squeeze, and you know what we always say, muscle stretch while under load has the most potential for growth. So really great option here to simulate that Hammer Strength machine. Next up, we have the pullover machine. Y'all, I love the pullover machine.
She does.
You don't find them very often, but our gym at work has this old school Nautilus lat pullover machine. It is definitely like a lost gem in the gym, but there's nothing for me that isolates my lats more than that. The amount of stretch that I can get, and I can really load up that weight by raising the pin. It's just a really beautiful machine. The problem is when I'm not working out at the gym at work, I don't have access to that. So then what do you do? Well, there's a lot of different options depending on what equipment you have available to you. But for starters, I think the most effective and simplest thing to use as an alternative is just gonna be a lat pullover using a resistance band. So we're gonna go ahead and anchor this up high again. Have my handy dandy helper for us vertically challenged individuals. All right, so with this, you're just gonna stretch out like this, lean forward, all right, and then you just pull straight down just like this.
Great tip here is you want to pull with the lat. You're going to want to naturally pull with your tricep and your rear delt. You got to get that mind to muscle connection and pull with just your lat right there. Bam.
Absolutely. In fact, I was recently watching a video from the Mountain Dog, rest in peace, and he actually had a really great variation for this, for that upper lat. He ended up taking 2 handles, so I can try just like looping them maybe through here, and then he kept them end to end like this, and he just pulled straight down like this. And it really, just the initiation of this motion really worked that upper lat. In fact, James, go ahead and try a couple. See what you think.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Stretch it here.
Yeah.
Squeeze it here.
So something just as simple as changing how the handles are positioned can elicit different reactions on those lats. So if you're trying to target upper lat, this is a really great option. In fact, you can't exactly do that on those old school Nautilus lat pullover machines, but using cables or bands, you absolutely can. So maybe in some ways, this is actually more effective than the commercial alternative.
It might be. And just hashtag, if you're kind of large, you might not fit into the lat pullover machine. That's why it's not one of my favorites. It rubs my lats. I can't fit into it.
That's a good point.
It rubs my lats when I pull it down. So that is not one of my favorite back machines, excuse me. But Camille absolutely loves it. And if I fit into it, I would probably love it as well.
Absolutely. All right, let's show you another alternative now.
All right, y'all. The other alternative to the pullover machine is a dumbbell pullover. Great exercise for your lats. Isolate your lats. It's a little bit wonky getting into position here, especially if you're a big guy or girl. All right, right here is your starting position. You want to come down, stretch the lats, pull up, squeeze the lats at the top, just like so. Stretch them here and squeeze them at the top. And just like with the band or the cable, you want to pull with the lat. Make sure you're using this muscle here. That's the only muscle you want working right now. Stretch it and then squeeze it at the top, just like so. Right? All right. Pro tip, if you want to get a better stretch, drop your hips. Now you can stretch even more and bring it up and squeeze. Good stretch here. Take a deep breath. Good stretch, lats, and then up and squeeze them just like so. Great alternative to the lat pullover machine. If you can't fit into it like me, or you don't have one, dumbbell pullovers.
But wait, there's a bonus.
Bonus!
I want to show you adding a resistance band to the pullover. It makes for a super nasty variation of the lat pullover with the dumbbell. So grab your big looped band just like this. You want to anchor it somewhere down low. So right there will work. And then you go ahead into your regular lat position. This is a lot easier with the helper. You just loop this around the bottom. All right. And now as he starts pulling the dumbbell over his chest, the tension coming from this band increases, making it even harder to pull it there. Because what happens a lot of times is when you end up close to over your chest, you lose all tension on the lats. So this allows you to keep that tension on the lats for the entire range of motion. Just don't let it go too slack at the bottom. So he really needs to actually move this way so he can have constant tension. All right.
This thing is super nasty. If you haven't done it before, I highly recommend it. Camille already mentioned it, but your resistance is actually coming from the side now. So you're not going dead right here, and it's max resistance at max contraction right here. Super nasty, super great tip, super good exercise right here. Highly recommend. But you might need a partner to help you out, get your band on.
Well, there you have it. Let's recap this video. So today, James and I showed you some of our favorite alternatives to back machines at the commercial space. And so we started with the lat pull down. That's definitely a staple when it comes to training back. It's got a lot of versatility to it. So how do you do that at home? James's #1 pick was?
Pull-ups. It's almost the exact same movement. You're just pulling up as opposed to pulling down.
Absolutely. And then we showed you some resistance band versions where you can loop a band up high and either do them kneeling or seated. You're mimicking the same movement pattern. And that's really the key to all of these. Yeah. You have to think about what are those kind of discrete variables that makes it unique, and then mimic those in some way, shape, or form. So from there, we talked about James's favorite, the king of back day, the isolateral row machine. I really love it too, though. That is one of my favorites.
It is definitely one of my favorite back machines, if not my favorite back machine.
Absolutely. And so the key unique thing with this one is the fact that you're chest supported and able to row horizontally and unilaterally. So trying to pick something like doing rows on a bench face down mimics that same sort of motion, or even the version I showed you where you're seated with the resistance band, kind of doing the Wesley Visser style seated rows.
Yeah, and they're great exercises, man. I mean, I love that machine, but you can definitely mimic those exercises, and they are fantastic. I like doing them with the dumbbells as well.
Absolutely. And then last, my favorite, that old school Nautilus lat pullover machine, y'all. I definitely fit in there perfectly. I don't have James's problem. I mean, obviously I need to grow my lats to where I don't fit in there, but in any case, there's a lot of different great things you can do to mimic this. So whether it's just a resistance band pullover or doing the dumbbell style that we showed you, but if you are gonna do the dumbbell style that James showed you, definitely add that extra resistance band to it so you get that variable tension.
Definitely pro tip right there. Put that band on there. It's a different ball game, different exercise. I'm not even gonna call it a dumbbell pullover. It's a different exercise, y'all. It is that much better. You just leveling up when you put that band on there.
Absolutely. And just keep in mind, it doesn't have to be a 1-for-1 swap. So you can combine these exercises. So if maybe the pull-ups are too easy for you, go ahead and combine, pre-exhaust with the pull-ups, and then go into the seated resistance band lat pull down. And that way you're really exhausting those muscle fibers, putting that stress on them and getting the reaction that you want for growth while still being at home.
Great tips, man. There are some great back machines out there. I'm 100%. I use them, I love them, but you can definitely mimic them and do them at home with dumbbells and bands.
Absolutely. So get creative, y'all. Mix and match the different pieces of equipment you have. Hopefully this video series is helping you come up with some new ideas to do some of those more complicated exercises. But definitely check out our other videos in our back playlist. And then there's always the opportunity to join James and I live every Sunday, 12 Eastern. It's your opportunity to ask any questions that you may have and get answers in real time. But all right, if you enjoyed this video today, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and there's always the option for leaving us that super thanks. So all right, until next time, 88ers, James and Camille.